What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Mayoiga episode 7. So, yeah, this episode of Mayoiga, probably not the best thing we have seen. Spilled a little water on me. So in this episode of Mayoiga, we get a little backstory of Mitsune's past that seems kind of interesting at first, but at the same time, I really didn't care for it that much, probably simply because of the fact that I don't really care for Mitsumune in general. And honestly, when it comes to a series like Mayoiga that introduces you to 20 to 30 plus characters within the first episode, and the studio wants you to get acquainted with these characters and try to focus on them to understand how they feel and act, and trying to get you acquainted with pretty much everything they do in this series. It's kind of hard to actually focus on one single character to actually care about. So yeah, that's where my stance goes on the line when it comes to this little backstory that we got with Mitsumune. But what happened with this backstory? Let me explain. Basically, we see that Mitsumune has a twin brother named Tokimune. Now, Tokimune had a accident. Apparently, he ended up falling off a balcony, it seems, and pretty much he ended up killing himself. Now, Tokimune, if you remember correctly, is the monster that we see chasing Misaki and Mitsumune, the giant penguin-like blob thing, okay? We see that this thing is called a Tokimune because a couple episodes ago, Mitsumune ended up stating that, what he saw was, in fact, Tokimune. Now, that would mean that Mitsumune, his greatest fear, at least from what we know of, the Lost Village, is that once you are placed in this village, you start to hallucinate and pretty much see your most inner, darkest fears, okay? So, basically, when Tokimune ended up dying, okay, Mitsumune was put on the spot as being the only child, and pretty much everyone started to see him as Tokimune instead of Mitsumune, instead of himself, okay? Pretty much he became the living personification of what Tokimune used to be, and pretty much everyone ended up forgetting about Mitsumune. So this traumatized him to bit, and he wanted to start a new life just for him to be called Mitsumune, and that's why he went to the Lost Village and whatnot. But now we know that basically where the name Tokimune originated from was in fact from his lost brother that that ended up dying a while back. So yeah. So now we finally know Mitsune's past and basically why he wanted to go to the Lost Village in the first place. Now, if you remember correctly, Tokimune was actually the name of this penguin-like, blob-like creature that is chasing Misaki and Mitsumune in this episode. Apparently, a few episodes ago, Mitsumune ended up pointing out that this thing was called a Tokimune. So now we come to find out in this episode that he had a brother named Tokimune. So if what we can gather in this episode from, what we have seen of Mayoiga so far, pretty much when you get stuck in this village, it's like a curse. It's like a virus that spreads. People will start to see their most darkest and inner fears, and pretty much, I guess, Mitsune's inner fear is the fear of, not existing entirely, and from what he sees is his brother. Basically, from what I can gather, is that Mitsumune ends up feeling inferior to, Tokimune, his brother, and this is why he has a great fear of Tokimune in general. And also, we saw in this episode that they were playing with a stuffed animal that resembles the blob-like, penguin-like creature. And in the first episode, apparently in the comments down below, you all let me know that apparently this stuffed animal made an appearance in episode 1 of Mayoiga, and basically this penguin-like creature is the personification of that stuffed animal, and this stuffed animal was in fact a toy that Mitsumune and Tokimune used to play with. So basically, I guess maybe the fact is that Mitsumune ended up forgetting what Tokimune ended up looking like. Of course, he looked basically like Mitsumune himself, but just like everyone else, he ended up forgetting what Tokimune looked like. Weird part of this episode in which we see the Salem witch trials start to make an appearance yet again, but in anime. Very interesting indeed. Now we have it to where Misaki ends up, being almost crucified in a sense. She's put up on a stake and pretty much everyone's shouting at her, calling her a ghost and blaming her for the events that have been transpiring in the Lost Village, and people in general are just like, execute her as quickly as possible so we can live a normal life. And she ends up getting cut by a knife accidentally. Just a scratch though, just a scratch. Don't worry, Misaki fans. But we have it to where she ends up bleeding. So this actually ends up confirming that Misaki is not dead. She is not dead, okay? So that completely throws out the theory that she could be dead and could be a possible ghost. But people at this point are still calling her a ghost, even though she ends up getting cut and ends up bleeding, because one of the guys was saying that, you know what, if she is able to pretty much take the form as a regular human being, she can also take the form as to our bodily functions. She can pretty much, be the spitting image of a living human being. So at this point, they are still not convinced and want to, kill Misaki as soon as possible. And then that's when Muney pops up and pretty much saves the day. And then we have it to where, yet again, another cliffhanger in which we got Misaki saying, "I'm a blank," what's going on there? Like, what exactly is the studio hiding from us? If Misaki is not dead, if she is not a ghost, then we have to throw the theory of that away. Now, what could she be? Could she be, maybe she is related to this Lost Village by her, late grandparents or something like that? Maybe she had, a connection from her other family, from the Lost Village, and pretty much, when in episode 1, why she ended up coming to this place in general. I mean, because I don't even think we got a motive as to why Misaki wanted to come to the Lost Village to begin with. So if we're going on this theory, that means that Misaki, just wanted to visit the village just because, she wanted to see the ruins of what her family, her older family used to live like. I don't know. I'm just, giving a really bad speculation here. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying, but I can't come up with a good theory at this point. So yeah, guys, that about does it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode of Mayoiga, and let me just know your overall, theories as to who you think Misaki could truly be, and, how exactly does she play into, all of these disappearances that have been going around in the Lost Village. And also, just let me know your overall thoughts on what you think about the series so far. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Just let me know your overall thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It is always greatly appreciated. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.